Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ask Dr. Be Good show, where we bring the positive things going on in public education and at Legacy. And today we have some information that I think everyone will enjoy, especially those of you who have kids in the kinder through sixth grade dual language program. So before we get started, let's go ahead and go around the room and see who we brought with us today.
Hello, my name is Diaz, and I'm a Mandarin Chinese facilitator at Legacy.
Hi, my name is Vivian Yang, and I'm the Chinese language program coordinator. Thank you.
So, Vivian, talk a little bit about how our program has evolved, because you came to us, then you left, and now you come back. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, in the beginning, our program started from one teacher, travel both campuses, and then it grows from one teacher to two teachers when I joined as a Mesquite Chinese teacher. I left because I went to my doctor's degree last year. This year I came back as a Chinese language program coordinator, and I am so privileged to work with the three other Chinese teachers this year, and we have so much fun things to do. I'm so happy.
Well, and the kids are happy. When I walk the campuses and I see the kids during Chinese time, they're on their feet, they're doing things, they're only speaking Chinese. So let's quickly go into some of the things that you do. So talk about the Chinese program. Ms. Diaz, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So in Chinese program, all of students, they have Chinese class from kindergarten to sixth grade. And after sixth grade and seventh grade, they can have a choice. If they want to continue the Chinese program, they can choose to continue the Chinese program.
And did you tell me you thought you had some sixth graders this year who might want to do that?
Oh yes, they love Chinese program. So I have a lot of sixth graders now. They come from fifth grade last year. And the first day when I went into their classroom, they're so excited. Miss Diaz, so happy to see you again. And I said, yeah, me too. So
but that was all in Chinese, right?
That's all in Chinese, yes. Yes, so they like to see me again, and then they enjoy the Chinese program, and they tell me they really like to continue.
So can you talk a little bit, Miss Yang, about the benefits of learning a third language that happens to be Chinese?
Well, sure. If we can show you a picture, from this picture, you may be able to see that over 50% population in the world speaks either English, Spanish, or Chinese. Look at this picture.
So we have a graph that very much shows that 25%, 23% speak Chinese, 19% English, 8% Spanish. And so if that represents almost half of the world populations. That's amazing. I would guess that you can travel almost anywhere with just those three. And how lucky are our kids who, many of them come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, and yet now they're in a free public school able to learn Mandarin Chinese. That's amazing. And you guys do an amazing job. What are other benefits?
Well, other than they can communicate with their friends all over the world, first, I think it's very healthy for them to learn English since kindergarten. And I think
you mean Chinese?
Yes,
Chinese.
Yes, because it helps to develop their brains, and they can learn so much faster than adults. I want to show you some pictures from Mrs. Diaz in her kinder room.
So let's see, our first video then, our first video is going to be the door greeting. Let's go ahead and go with the door greeting, going into the room so that you can see how immersed we try to get our students to be as soon as they hit Chinese time. I can see that you have very well established routines. What was happening at the very beginning? Since I unfortunately don't speak Chinese, what were the kids saying to you on the way in?
So they would tell me hello, greeting hello, hello, and then I will ask them, what's your name? And then they tell me their name, and then they ask me what's my name, and I say my name is Miss Diaz, and then I would say it's very glad to see you, and then they say it's very glad to see you too. So it's a very good conversation. So I use that conversation to know their name, and then also to build a relationship with my students.
And that's important because you have almost 600 students.
Yes.
You and Miss Vera, there's two of you.
Yes.
So it's important that you learn their names pretty fast.
Yes, so that helps a lot.
And now we have another video of the kinders inside. Let's go ahead and look at that.
准备好了吗？好了。准备好了吗？好了。OK， 你好 ，Go。你好，你好，我叫他。再见。再见。再见。你好，你好，我叫太阳。再见。再见。
So what were they doing there?
So it's another thing. So for third grade to sixth grade, they have a whole conversation. So for kindergarten to second grade, since they're lower level, it's harder for them to have a conversation. So this is also about greeting, like hello, hello, my name is, and goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
And so what were the masks?
So that will help them to introduce themselves. Like when I go inside the door, they say hello, and then they tell me the name, so I can still match the name and the face.
But they were wearing masks.
Oh, so because they like it. Like every time I would bring something special to make them feel so happy. So, oh, you are so good today. I'm gonna reward you this.
So I think what you're doing is you're using the mask as a way of making Chinese so fun that they don't even realize that they're learning something that a lot of adults would think is hard.
Yes.
A lot of adults would think that's very hard to learn Mandarin Chinese, but not these kiddos.
No, I made them move a lot so they will play and learn at the same time.
Excellent.
They always tell me, Miss Diaz, I like Chinese. Miss Diaz, Chinese easy. And I say, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's see, do we have one more video?
We have one more video for the word wall, vocabulary
Let's
word.
look at the word wall, because even in Chinese, just like in Spanish, just like in English, we have our word walls.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit about what they were learning, please, because, again,
So they were going through all the vocabularies we have been learning. So we have so far we have been learning a lot. So in these 2 months we have been learning the greeting, a very long conversation. We have been learning the school supplies. So every time when I show them take out a pencil, instead of saying take out a pencil, I will use Chinese. So I try to use like all Chinese in my class. So I would teach everything they see, and everything connects to their life. So they can like repeat and use it, so they know how to use, like they learn Chinese, and I want them to know how to use the Chinese so they can understand and can apply the Chinese to their life.
So I noticed that you do work on calligraphy. Like, you have a lot of Chinese characters up there.
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to hold up your calligraphy practice sheet that the kids use. You know, in kinder and in some of the lower grades, we have a practice sheet that the kids practice their, there you go. They practice their letters. Here, you're having them practice their calligraphy and their Chinese characters. What are you having them actually learn to write?
So they would learn to write everything we have been learning. So right now I write a ni hao very fast. So they already know how to write ni hao.
Which is hello.
Yes, hello.
I know
Yes,
that
good
one.
job. So I focus on speaking, and I also focus on writing and then listening. So everything. So every time I like in one class, I would try to do everything, a little bit of everything. So writing is also important. I try to bring this calligraphy paper since I call it magic paper. Students love it a lot. So they use water, only water on this brush.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't
and
realize
then,
that.
Yes, it's just water. And then I put it on the paper. It will be black. And then I tell my students, oh, wow, see, it's magic. And then they say, wow. And then we're going to count from 1 to 100 in Chinese the first time. They say, after 100, all the Chinese words, they will go back to China. So you need to learn Chinese and go to China and take them back. So they will be, yeah, they love this so much.
So this dries blank again.
Yes, they
Wow.
will dry out so the students can keep practicing.
Fantastic.
that's
I
very
didn't realize
good.
that. I learned
Yeah.
something today. So Ms. Yang, talk a little bit about the culture piece. What are we, how are we different than the Chinese, for example? Are we teaching our kids that? What are some of the differences between America and China?
Well, we're trying to compare and connect our culture with Chinese culture and American culture. For example, in the past month, we just celebrated Chinese Mooncake Festival, and our teacher teaches the kids to learn how to make mooncakes. And I actually have a video to show you how Mrs. Vera, she teach one kids to make mooncake from flour.
准备好了吗？准备好了吗？好的，数啊，1、2，轻一点，3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10，推出来。哇，太棒了！好。
So mooncakes are made out of what?
Flour.
Flour
Right.
and
We just flowers. So the real mooncakes,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of things. But this one, we just make it easy. So we brought 10 pounds of flowers. We make everything from scratch in front of the students. So show them how to make it. So they can feel and understand like the Chinese culture. The Moon Festival is really, really important in Chinese culture.
why is it important?
So yeah, that's a good question. My students ask me the same thing. So we tell them Moon Festival is so important. They don't understand until we compare. So we also compare Chinese culture and American culture to help them to understand. So we compare Chinese culture, Moon Festival with Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. So
yes.
it's a day of giving thanks, or a way of giving thanks.
Yes, and also families to get together. That's the main idea, like
Okay.
families to get together, enjoy family time, and then just be together and be thankful.
Okay. What are there some other comparisons? I know that. What else do we celebrate, for example?
We also celebrate
Yeah.
Chinese New Year. It's something like Christmas here. So we also compare, like in Christmas here you have gifts. So in China, Chinese New Year, we don't have gifts. We have pocket money. Pocket money.
In the red envelope.
Yeah, in
I-
the red
and I
envelope.
remember that because I lived in
Yes.
Hong Kong and Singapore growing up. And so I
Yes.
remember that.
And our student made envelopes. They love it. And then we really put some real 1 cent or Chinese money inside, and they open it. So if they have the Chinese money, they're the lucky one.
Yes.
Yes.
That's neat. And eating habits, what's the difference?
Eating habits? Oh, okay. So in China, it's more healthy. We don't eat that much fried food. Everything is fresh. Yes. So everything we just try to eat fresh. We don't eat that much frozen food, microwave food, not that much thing.
Matter of fact, I think I figured this out, but you guys don't do leftovers. No, because I've seen that with the Chinese restaurants, the Asian restaurants, Thai restaurants, Vietnamese restaurants. They don't take their extra food home because they tell me it's not good the next day.
Yes.
That's the difference. I love leftovers. I think it's a way of saving money, but it's almost like, and I can almost believe it, like the rice noodles, they're just not the same the next day.
Not the
Yeah.
same.
So now you have a really cool activity that you do, teaching kids to use chopsticks.
Yes, I do. So, yeah, it's really hard for them to learn at the beginning. Like, they were like, I remember my students, like, they try to use the chopsticks and then they crying, Miss Diaz, that is too hard. We cannot do it. And I said, okay, see what I have. And then I brought popcorn and I said, okay, I will give you 5 minutes to practice. After 5 minutes, each student, you will have 10 to 15 seconds to use chopsticks to get the popcorn. If the more you get, the more you can eat. So they're motivated. So, okay, yes, I can do it now. Let's do it. And then they just focus so much to practice the chopsticks. And after the 5 minutes, boom, they're good. Like, they're very good. They're like a real Chinese person to use Chinese chopsticks.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So Miss Yang, what are some of the ways that parents can help us at home?
I was just going to say that when I observed Mrs. Diaz's class, when they practiced the chopsticks, and I heard the kids said, oh my God, next time when I go to the Chinese restaurant, I'm going to show my parents how to use the chopsticks. And this is exactly the way that parents can help us to promote the Chinese culture, to promote the kids to understand how fun it is to learn cultures in China and to interact with people in the Chinese restaurant. I think that's very fun when they can say hello in Chinese in a Chinese restaurant with the people there. And maybe sometime they can order foods in Chinese in the future, and that would be very cool of them to doing that.
Yeah, to be able to share this love of Chinese with their family members, maybe you could ask them to bring videos of them trying to teach their families. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be so good.
That might be a fun practice. What other things can families do together when it comes to learning more about the Chinese culture?
Well, definitely bring them to the community events. For example, in Chinese Lunar New Year's, we always have some Chinese communities perform, sometimes in North Park Center, I know about that. And sometimes in Chinatown, we have Dancing Dragon, Dancing Lion. And other than that, we have a big community in Plano for Chinese people, and it is always easy to go there to visit like a bubble tea store, a snack store, or a supermarket. The kids really love to go to places like that, and I think it's a fun for families to gathering with each other. Also to let the kids to have more exposure to observe how Chinese people live, what they buy for cook, things like that.
Those are good suggestions, yes. Going to a Chinese or an Asian store would, I think, help them see that parts of the world eat things that we would never think to eat here. Yes. Now, we don't have to go into all of that now because that's another podcast, but it would be fascinating for a family to decide to make an Asian walk or a Chinese walk down the aisles and sort of write down things that they saw in the Chinese store or the Asian store, the grocery store, that they had never seen before. That might be another good activity. There you go. Because we need this to become more real to them. And so bringing it alive at home is a way of keeping it going to where maybe more sixth graders will want to continue the Chinese, especially our Hispanic kids. We have some African kids who already speak a second language and who are able to, at this stage in their life, because their brains are still young, to acquire something like Mandarin Chinese in a way that would be so beneficial. One of the things we didn't mention from a business standpoint, if they can graduate fluent in English, Spanish, and Chinese, goodness gracious, there will be businesses that will want to hire them because of that, because it's so unusual to have that. So so we want to make sure we say that it from just a business standpoint. And then we could even, once kids get into high school, we could see if we can offer dual credit Chinese, right? Where they could get college credit for the Chinese in high school before they leave us. So all of those things are available to them. You just need to plant that seed early on.
Yes.
So talk to me now about some upcoming events at school, at Legacy.
Okay, so our PTO night is a big thing for us. So we try to have every PTO night to have Chinese performance. So parents, please feel free to come and just join us the PTO night. So our students will have Chinese performance. You'll be so proud of them. They are so smart, and then they would like to sing Chinese songs, speak Chinese, and show you the Chinese calligraphies, the Chinese writing they know. They're just so proud of themselves when they know Chinese. Like, I try to tell them, you're so different, you're so smart. See, you know something a lot of people don't know. That is Chinese.
So I remember last fall you had a room at the Fall Festival. What things did you have in the Fall Festival that the kids loved?
Okay, so the Fall Festival, we have a lot of Chinese calligraphy. We also prepare some chopsticks for them to practice, to grab the snacks, use chopsticks. And then we'll also bring ping pong. So they play ping pong. My students love ping pong. And then we also show them the dragon, the panda, anything relates to Chinese culture, and also the Chinese music, traditional music, and Chinese traditional clothes. So everything is like, we just want our students to be exposed to Chinese culture when they go to events like that. So they will know more about the culture. They will want to learn more about Chinese.
Can I assume that you're doing that again this year?
Of course. That's my
so.
pleasure.
I thought so. Yes, I'll put a plug in for the Fall Festival, which is happening in a couple of weeks, I think, right? On a Friday. We look forward to seeing you guys there.
And we also have the big thing, like one of the biggest event in Legacy for Chinese program is our Chinese New Year.
Next year.
So it will be next year on January 23rd. So in the morning we will have a big parade. So we will have the dragon dance, the lion dance, and then the students will put the traditional clothes on, and then they will walk through the hallway from elementary school to high school. So a lot of people like it, and then we will also give out the red pocket with the money inside.
Oh.
They like it a lot, and
I
then
bet.
we also make some dragons and the drums. They really like it. So please come and join us next year. Book the day,
Yes.
January 23rd in the morning, and at night we also have the PDO night. We will have some performance, the traditional clothes show, and then we'll have some activities, some fun. That's something we try to show students and parents that we love Chinese culture. We want to show them the students are very good, and we have good teachers to help students to be good teachers.
Sure. So we're almost to the end of our podcast. Let me ask you, what questions do you want our parents to ask our kinder through sixth grade kids about the Chinese program? What are good trigger questions to get kids talking about it?
I would say just simple, like, what did you learn today? So in class, I always encourage my students to go home and teach their parents, and if anyone, like parents, friends, about the Chinese. The way when they teach the parents and friends is the way they review again. So if they can teach, it means they understand, they know the language already. So just simply ask, what did you learn today in Chinese class? They will tell you. They will be so excited. They will talk a lot.
And maybe also, what did you do?
What did
Because
you
you guys don't only just talk, you guys
Yes.
do stuff.
Yeah, we do a lot.
Yeah, and I also want them to ask the kids, what do you want to do with the Chinese language you have learned? Maybe what places you want to visit in China one day. what kind of profession you want to end up when you have mastered this language, I think it's so good to plant that seed, that vision in their heart when they are learning the language. So they be more serious about this privilege and opportunity that they are provided by Legacy.
Okay, and thank you for saying it that way. When I wrote the charter, I knew that we would need to have boys and girls who, as adults, would need to be able to do business with China, because China's not going away. China's big. China's going to be in our future, and we need boys and girls that can grow up learning the language, understanding the culture, being comfortable with the culture to the point where they can help the United States in the business dealings that are in our future. So that was my thought behind putting it in. But it's just good for the brain. It's good for business, and it's good for our legacy students to have the understanding that they're not alone. That there's a whole world out there, and they need to know more about it before they're adults.
Yes.
To be more global. Matter of fact, we've had a couple of kids go to China, and it looks like we might have that opportunity again. So let me put that in the ears and minds of parents. We have the China opportunity coming again. And so if you think, and I think it's grades 6 or 7 on up. And so if you think you want your child to go, start saving money. Some of our parents sold tamales to be able to send their kids. I mean, that's how much they wanted to make sure their kids had that life-changing, and it is a life-altering opportunity. Then start asking more questions about it, start saving money for it, and so put that on your horizon. Well, we thank you, ladies, for taking time out of your day, for being here, for preparing for today, for bringing videos and the calligraphy paper to us, and being ready to just shine about your program, because that's what you do, Miss Diaz. It comes out. You just gleam about it. And
She
yes,
She is.
and so thank you for being with us. And we have, like I said, come to the end of our program. Thank you.
Thank you. 谢谢. Gracias.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.